Hello. Today's Friday, August 7th, and we're doing security and nonsense. Everyone's favorite section. Maybe, if you're really into security.
Oh, nonsense. So last week we had the meow attack. If you remember that, it was some dark vigilante who was wiping out unsecured databases and just putting the word meow in there. And I think this week we had to raise it a notch.
A vigilante is sabotaging the Emotet botnet by replacing malware payloads with GIFs. Yeah, scroll down. It's like the Hacker Man GIF. This is amazing.
So we started out with the Blink-182 guy. Then we moved on to, I don't remember what this is. Oh, yeah, James Franco. And now we have the Hacker Man.
Nice.
All good choices.
Good choices, and they're doing a good thing for the world. It turns out that the shell that the Emotet uses is pretty basic, and they use the same password for all of them. So it's easy to go behind them and clean them up. A little war being waged in people's computers, and they have no idea. It's kind of fun, isn't it?
I wonder how many millions of dollars Garmin paid to get their ransomware key.
I didn't see anything about that this week.
They will not talk about it, but a lot of security researchers have figured out that they definitely had to pay the ransomware.
Oof.
And Garmin's just like, psh. And they're not reinstalling. So this is going to be a repeat.
If you're the one that got phished, are you gone?
It's probably like the son's or the owner's nephew or the owner's son or something, and it's just like.
Well, getting hacked is more and more common these days, and it's really common if you use WordPress.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
A dark sore on the earth is WordPress.
The most popular content management system on the internet.
And
we have a clause now that's like we don't support WordPress anymore because it becomes such a time sink constantly patching it.
Yeah,
it's really not WordPress. It's all the plugins. But yeah, people go nuts. They go to the thing and they're like, I'm going to install plugins. And it's like, let's administratively disable that. And then they're like, how can I can't install my plugins.
But news sites love them. And so we get this.
Hackers broke into real news sites to plant fake stories. A disinformation operation broke into content management systems of Eastern European media outlets in a campaign to spread misinformation about NATO.
So they were saying that NATO was bad. Now what they would do is they had their Twitter bots and they had their WordPress hack. They'd go in, they'd create a real story, then they would spam social media with it. And people would click and they'd be like, that's a real website. Oh my God.
That sounds like lying on the internet with more steps.
Yeah, well,
more steps.
Super functional, apparently. People were really falling for it and they would share it a bunch. These websites would eventually find it and take it down, but the damage had been done.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And you might be thinking to yourself, when you listen to all these stories, the only option, as Wendell is illustrating, is just to head down to the drugstore and get as much alcohol in you as you can until you forget. But wait, you're not safe even then.
Rite Aid deployed facial recognition systems in hundreds of U.S. stores. Yeah, Rite Aid. Rite Aid, the pharmacy.
Now, they didn't do this across the nation. It was focused to really high crime areas. Unfortunately, those are also areas that are very sensitive right now because people of color.
Yeah.
They did admit as well that the facial recognition not super accurate for those people. They were talking about like apparently it's fashionable among the urban youth these days to wear headbands. And they're like, yeah, if the headband was the same color, even though they look nothing alike, it would be like a match. I found a match.
No, you didn't.
So they've agreed to not do that anymore. But they did it for 7 years.
Wow, they're ahead of the curve.
That was some early facial recognition.
Yeah, I bet their CTO was like, this is amazing. I've got all this facial recognition stuff. And then they got some field data and they're like, oh no.
Let's make it like a tier list right now. So like CVS, Rite Aid, and Walgreens. Which one is like the top in terms of pharmacies for you?
I don't go to them very often.
Really?
I
feel like all the Rite Aids around here, or at least the ones that I've been into, like they're always kind of in sketchy areas. But CVS, it's either in a sketchy area or it's in a totally fine neighborhood. There's no in between.
I always do the drive-through. There's no option but the drive-through. Like, why would you go?
Well, now, yeah.
You avoid designer drugs and other potions. Now, if you want to avoid that facial recognition, but you still need your sweet, delicious alcohol, there's another choice. However, your security will still not be safe if you choose it.
Alcohol delivery service Drizly confirms a data breach. Pour one out for your homies that use Drizly to get alcohol delivered.
What do you think about this logo, Krista?
I was kind of looking at it, and it's a good concept, but the execution is a little lacking.
I don't like that the Y is over his face.
I don't mind that. I'm looking more at just like the way that they've drawn the silhouette of the bear. It looks like they could have deleted some more anchor points and smoothed it out a little bit more, but
also
it's
that
fine.
Look at the tiny space between the left rear foot. That's going to be hell to like cut out
and reproduce. Yeah. Though if it's an app, the argument could be made that it's only digital, so like print is not necessarily like a big part of your branding.
What if I want to put a sign on my car that I'm a Drizly driver?
Drizly driver. Oh.
No,
That is a
officer.
good point.
The entire backseat is filled with alcohol because I'm a delivery driver.
Yeah, the alcohol smell is permanent.
I'm happy that the alcohol delivery is legal here now, basically, because of the thing.
That's probably saving lives.
Yeah, it really probably is.
Yeah.
Well, here's a headline that is so Captain Obvious. I mean, did anybody not think this was the case?
Study finds election officials are vulnerable to cyber attacks. So this is talking about, like, if you are, the volunteer or you're the person who's directing the thing for a region, your name, that's known ahead of time. Like, it's like, oh, I'm the person that's in charge of, these 5 counties. You can be searched and targeted online. And your stuff, your individual stuff, is not secure because nobody's had cybersecurity training.
Also, what do you think the average age is for those people? They're always ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your password? It's my grandbaby's birthday.
Here's a sad reality. When you use third-party products to track your workers, those keys can be compromised.
Hackers stole GitHub and GitLab OAuth tokens from Git analytics firm Waydev. OAuth tokens have been abused for intrusions at least 2 other companies, Dave.com and Flood.io. Flood.io I was familiar with. It's like a testing service. Basically, this is not a GitHub or a GitLab hack. It's just that this is a program that so many people use that, you can authorize it. So it's like, I want to install this and I want to be able to do analytics on my private repos and blah, blah, blah. Then it's got access to your Git repositories. Well,
which probably has some keys in it.
Yeah, they were hacked, and the keys that they were storing to access your Git repositories probably stolen.
Bad news.
So GitHub and GitLab say that they have revoked all of the OAuth tokens necessary to contain this, but it only looks like a handful of repositories were accessed. So,
and the most exciting leak of the week, maybe, or I guess this was a leak hack. I'm not sure if this was unsecured, but somehow somebody got some old Nintendo treasure trove stuff. And you might be thinking, well, big deal. This stuff was all released years ago. Not this stuff.
Huge apparent leak unearths Nintendo's proprietary history. Unused designs for Mario, Pokemon, Star Fox, and others see the light of day. So this is like ROM source code, beta versions, like Sub-Zero, or no, F-Zero for the Super Nintendo. They had a bunch of like recorded voice files. They were compressed to fit on the ROM cartridge. The originals are here. So the emulators can go and add some of these effects and some of the graphics, like the high fidelity stuff, to these ROM cartridges. So we're going to see some amazing community modded ROMs pretty soon, I think.
I think we're going to see Nintendo's legal team doing some amazing things.
Do we have any details about how this happened? Because it could have been something as simple as like something from an estate sale.
They just that it first showed up on 4chan. No one knows the origin.
Interesting. It's like, wouldn't it be sad if it was like some old programmer at Nintendo that finally died, and then they just auctioned off all his stuff, and that was on there?
But they did. Someone who had worked on one of those games confirmed. It was like, yeah, we did that.
Well,
and we never released it, but I remember working on that. This is not really news. Actually, I was going to cut this one and I forgot to. This happened a long time ago. Microsoft is finally cleaning up all the debris.
Microsoft will remove SHA-1 Windows downloads next week. Microsoft says file downloads will be signed. File downloads signed with the SHA-1 algorithm are insecure and will be removed on August 3rd, 2020. The reason is that the hash has been broken. So.
There's going to be like that one really obscure driver that they never bothered to replace the file for, and somebody's going to need it.
Yeah, and they're going to be downloading it from wares.ru. We've made you more secure. Yeah, where do you want to go tomorrow?
Now, if you are an anti-masker, I would point to this story and say, look at the benefits of masking beyond the whole health thing. Like, ignore all of that. It can be cool just wearing a mask for other reasons.
NIST study finds that masks defeat most facial recognition algorithms. Oh, it's Kyle Wiggers.
God, he is hardworking.
Yeah, we see him all the time, and I this is terrible, but I always giggle a little bit at that last name. How unfortunate.
Good job. We love you. It's fine.
Take a day off, Kyle. Wigger, please.
Whoa.
There goes the monetization.
We got to complain if they get rid of that. So they did this little study here. They digitally added the masks, but it was very effective. I like how they did the nose in and nose out.
Because they knew.
They knew.
Yeah.
I think this shouldn't be too surprising, because I think when all the Hong Kong protests started last year, pre-pandemic, that was what they were all wearing masks because they knew it would make it harder on the people looking for them. And
they did well, and the tear gas. They also pointed out that, as we always say, they are working around the clock to get around that. It's going to be fixed.
Yeah.
Enjoy it while you can.
Germans are going to be a little more environmentally conscious soon, as mandated by the state.
Aggressively environmentally conscious.
They are also going to have disgusting ears.
Germany is banning single-use plastic straws, cotton buds, and food containers, because they say a lot of this single-use stuff, like the polystyrene containers, are what is taking up landfills, trash left behind in parks, etc., etc. Now,
wait, so are cotton buds Q-tips?
Q-tips, yeah.
That's what
I had never heard that term.
Q-tip is a brand name.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, but
I've always heard swab.
Yeah. They probably don't have a good translation.
Cotton buds, I'm sitting here thinking, like, but isn't cotton, like, just like the flower? Like, isn't that good?
But some of them are, so sometimes, I think Q-tips are paper, right?
Well,
but they do have a plastic version.
Yeah, there's a plastic version. So I wonder if the paper version is okay.
Still probably not the most environmentally friendly thing in the world, but better than plastic, I guess.
We got those recycled biodegradable coffee cups downstairs, and those are really cool because you can plant them and they have a seed in them, and then so something grows.
Have you planted anything though?
No.
It's just poison ivy.
It's the seed packets from China.
Did you see somebody here got one?
Really?
Really? Yeah. In our office or like just in our city?
In the county.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Krista, this is a story I was talking to you about earlier, and I definitely thought about you. You are home searching.
Yes.
And we happen to live in an area that is close to a larger area where people will be fleeing from.
Already are fleeing from?
Yeah. We're running out of homes for sale. Lake Tahoe brokers say as tech workers flee the Bay Area.
And so it begins.
Yeah. I mean,
if Musk had Starlink online already, property values around here would just be through the roof.
I mean, they already are pretty high up. Like, they've been going up, it feels like. So I've been looking further out. And the only thing that told me back is like, well, I don't know if that place has internet.
These are some nice houses.
Yeah, Lake Tahoe is not inexpensive, but certainly cheaper than the Bay Area.
So yeah, they mentioned that people are basically not even looking at these houses. They're just like calling the realtor and it's like, yep, here's a check.
Makes sense. I mean, if you live in the San Francisco area and it's like I can get this for how much? Sounds good. I mean, I can't go wrong. I can always sell it if I don't like it.
Now, Christy,
it's funny how like a year ago, you could have asked a lot of people who lived in those big cities, like, "Oh, I would never leave the city. The city's great. Like, think of all the cool stuff I can do." And then it's like,
death trap.
"Oh, yeah."
if you had known, you could go buy up all these properties, sell them to them. Now, Christy, you revealed at one point that when you go hiking, you actually don't even bother with the deodorant and such pleasantries.
If I'm backpacking, if I'm just like going on a day hike, I'll still wear deodorant. But like, if I'm going backpacking, I don't pack out deodorant because it's just one more thing you have to remember to put in your bear bag, and it's also extra weight, and you're gonna stink no matter what because you're sweating all day.
But this past weekend was backpacking, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, just stinking it up, huh?
Yeah, I did not smell pleasant when I got back to my house.
Now, you said that you went with a friend. Do you notice the other person?
No. I mean, you're so tired too, like at the end of the day, like you just want to eat and then like sit and not think for a while.
My experience is that nature accosts your senses to the point that you just don't detect anything.
Yeah, I've never like really noticed. I mean, you know, I noticed, you know, when I got in my car, I was like, oh, I do not smell good. But like when you're out there, you don't really notice.
Well, good news. We now understand the origin of our stank more than ever.
No sweat. Oh. Scientists solve mystery behind body odor.
It's a bacteria that breaks down some particular like lipid or something.
Enzyme.
They give it there.
And they actually took that enzyme and introduced it to some other things that live in our nether parts. And those things started to stink. So we have isolated the one thing. Now here's the crazy part. I was not aware of this. I must have slept through this day in biology. Most of your skin, you sweat through your pores. Underarm and groin, you sweat through your hair follicles.
Ooh.
That's why you get this special
Interesting.
little guy.
It must have been an evolutionary thing to generate that.
I guess.
Does that mean that smell is appealing at some point in our evolutionary past?
Oh, there is definitely. What is the name of? It's not that, like that smell isn't appealing, but we, you know,
pheromones?
like dogs. Yeah, pheromones. We let like the funk is detectable, not as we detect other scents, but there is a reception organ somewhere going on there.
Huh.
Huh. Huh.
So, yeah, you know, maybe in the caves. Etsy had a little bit of a problem, and it caused even more problems because how much money do you have in your shipping checking account exactly?
Oops. Decimal point error causes Etsy to massively overcharge for shipping labels. Somebody tried to get $3.50 of labels, and it was what, like $350?
Someone tried to do $10,000 worth.
Yeah, they got an overdraft. And Etsy said, hey, we'll pay for any overdraft or any other, you know, fees that your bank has charged. That was our bad. Sorry about that.
Now, do you think that guy still has the job today?
Yes.
That is an easy one to make.
Yeah.
But should be caught in testing pretty rapidly, I think.
Yeah, it seems like they would have a unit test to catch that.
So yeah, someone just got fired for that probably.
Now this begins the possible terrible things in 2020 block.
The darkness.
All the things that could just kill us
Spoilers.
all. This one, you know, probably not a huge chance. But then again, why would we do this?
Scientists pull living microbes, possibly 100 million years old, from beneath the sea. Oh, no.
When brought back to the lab and fed, they started to multiply.
What if this is one of those kinds of microbes that makes us stink and it just gets all over us?
Or one of those kinds of microbes that eats your brain.
Ooh.
So yeah, we got that to look forward to. Maybe aggressive microbes from beneath the sea. Maybe this is the Cthulhu microbe. Or it could be that when we're talking about the climate change and, you know, racial justice and all that stuff, and we're working hard, might be that we're aiming at the wrong target. And in fact, all along, it's been the trees that will kill us, or the lack thereof.
Theoretical physicists say there's a 90% chance of societal collapse within several decades. Deforestation and rampant resource use is likely to trigger the irreversible collapse of human civilization unless we rapidly change course. This article does not get points for mentioning that the U.S. has actually reforested significantly since 1950. That's not true of the rest of the world.
I think that's a drop in the bucket, isn't it?
Yes.
It is a drop in the bucket, and it takes a long time for them to get back to the points that they were previously.
But in the U.S. has been reforesting fairly steadily.
I think the Amazon is just...
Yeah, it's just gone.
It's just being stripped away.
Yeah.
So we were at 40,000 kilometers, or 40 million kilometers of... I don't remember the number. And now we're down to 30. And it's only accelerating because of the population growth and industrialization of those places. Okay, yeah. 60 million square kilometers down to 40. So on this path, we probably have like 3 decades.
Not even.
And then we're done.
You know, that's one of the reasons we don't have a road from North America to South America that's any good, is because the rainforest is so dense and the people are so protective of it, which is probably not a bad thing.
Yeah, let's go ahead and protect that.
It's also swampy in places.
Right. Even if we cut just like a little swath for the road, I imagine driving through the rainforest would have a lot of challenges.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if deforestation doesn't, if that's too in the distance to worry you, if you're like, you know what, I'm a little bit older, that's somebody else's problem, I'll be dead. But how about the biblical plagues?
Locust swarms are getting so big that we need radar to track them. The desert locust upsurge is yet another of 2020's horrors.
So it turns out that usually these desert locusts stay in the desert. But it has been incredibly wet in the desert. And you know who loves that? Desert locusts. And so they are breeding at a prolific pace and branching out into new biomes.
Oh, no. It's not good.
And they show up on radar. Because they point out that, radars are good at tracking rain because they're drops of water. And these are basically just drops of guts inside a little candy shell.
Tasty.
So, yeah.
I like this sentence. The recent outbreak may be a hint of what is to come, thanks to extreme weather as a result of climate change.
Oh, no.
And Krista, you experienced this one on a smaller scale. You foolishly planted only to benefit yourself and not nature.
It was dumb.
You're paying for that. And Lieutenant Dangle is paying for that.
Lieutenant Dangle. Dramatic decline found in western bumblebee populations. So I planted only food. And I'm up on a deck was where I'm planting off my apartment. And I should have planted some pollinators, stuff to it, or rather plants that attract pollinators like bees. Because a lot of my food plants aren't producing as well as they should have because I had to hand pollinate them. There were no bees to do it.
It's the birds and the bees, Krista. Did your parents not have that conversation with you?
They did, but they didn't use those terms.
And now you're
But this should be distressing to everybody though, because like everyone's food supply depends on the bugs doing their job.
Except for the locusts.
We don't want the locusts to do their job.
Yeah. And this is my favorite of the week, and it's kind of in the theme of the, killer bugs. Although this one isn't directly a threat to us, although if it becomes a threat to us, this is a really tough August event.
Yeah.
Really just an amazing... When you think about the fungus and their power, it is terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Zombie cicadas infected with mind-controlling fungus return to West Virginia. How do you know if you're dealing with a fungus-infested cicada? You turn it over and it's got a little red and white button on its end.
And why does it have a red and white button? Actually, they describe that, and we have to read it because it is just it's. Oh God, vamp while I find this. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Krista, you want to read that?
Wait, where are you?
She can't see the highlight.
I can't see where you're to.
Do you see the trending news?
Trending news? The invasion of the Hornets?
No, there's a little box that says trending news, SpaceX crew, Dragon astronauts.
I don't have that on mine, I don't think.
Okay.
The spores eat away at the genitalia, butts, and abdomens of the cicada until they eventually fall off, replacing them with fungal spores. A brutal process for the insects, which just spent more than a decade underground. They begin to decay, but rather than immediately die, they fly around and infect others. This does seem like the description of a zombie apocalypse here, except instead of, brains, it's their
genitals.
The worst scenario.
So the males, who I assume you can't tell because the genitalia has rotted off, flap their wings like the females instinctually do for mating. And then other males come to mate and they're like, whoa, what's going on here? But it's too late. The fungus has got them. And then they become fungus monsters.
It's hard for me to imagine an evolutionary scenario which would lead to this. This is just amazing.
How does the fungus know to make the male behave like a female? Is there something inside their genetics?
I mean, it would have to mean that the fungus sort of co-evolved with the cicadas.
And there's the cordyceps that makes the ants climb to the top of the leaf. It's crazy. Fungus is some terrifying stuff, I'm telling you. Krista, you've studied the fungus.
Well, mushrooms. But...
It would be fun if we later discovered that fungus is some sort of machine that was created by an advanced alien civilization to cleanse a planet to make it suitable for colonization should they so choose to colonize at some point in the far future.
But cicadas only come out every, what? Is it 17 years, 10 years, something like that?
But it's different in all different geographic locations.
That was some of the lore, the Star Trek lore in one of the Star Trek novels is like you have a Class M planet and a Class L, and Class L is only plants, but there was some talk that a lot of Class L planets that only evolved plant species did that because anything that was not a plant was cleansed from the biosphere so that a species could theoretically colonize that planet at some point in the future.
So I Googled what is the purpose of cicadas, and there's a website called cicadiamania.com.
So what is it?
They provide a link in the food chain between trees and critters.
It is amazingly restorative to it because not only do they feed everything massively, the death toll is so rapid they rejuvenate the soil and stuff.
Fungus also loves cicadas, as we've just read.
Nitrogen cycle.
Yeah, so it mentions a lot about trees. Cicadas' purpose in terms of people. Cicadas are a food source. Many people around the world eat cicadas, and not just on a dare, but as a delicacy or a staple food. Delicacy. Cicadas have more than one appearance on Bizarre Foods with Andrew Zimmern, for example.
Oh.
Huh. They're taste sensation.
Are they, though?
I've never eaten one. And they are very common around here.
Yeah, fry them up with some rice.
Cicada or a nice fillet, gotta choose the fillet every time.
So, if all of those things are terrifying to you and you're thinking, how do I get away? I need to escape this. I need to be one of the people who rebuild the earth. I'm one of the chosen ones. Well, how much money you got?
Weapons rooms, fakes windows, and a $3 million... No, I said $3 million or 3 million pounds. Inside a luxury doomsday bunker.
No, this is in the U.S. This is an old missile silo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, this is your dream.
This is the Guardian, though.
But my dream is to own that all on my own. Now, what this genius did is he bought it and he turned it into basically luxury apartments, but not just apartments. He has an entire ecosystem going on in these things.
Yeah, there's a picture that has several different levels.
Oh,
Do we get paywall?
Do we have a read more?
Mine is open. I can read all of it.
Oh, register for free.
No.
I didn't get paywall.
They have a whole layout of the thing, and they talked about they took the reporter and they're like, oh, show us where you store all the food. So he hit the elevator button and they went to the store level and it opened up and it was an entire store. And she was like, oh my God. And he's like, yeah, I hired a psychologist. And when the psychologist saw the storeroom filled with cardboard boxes, they're like, no, people are going to kill themselves. Give them a place where they can actually shop. And so the whole thing is built around your life being as normal as possible. There's a pool.
I saw the pool. Yeah, the pool looks nice.
Yeah.
It's got plants around it and fake rocks, and there's even There's a table with an umbrella, in case you don't want to get that fluorescent light on you. You don't want to get a suntan.
They have a lot of lighting that is,
fake sunlight
screens, LCD screens with lights behind them and stuff like that. So you actually feel like you're looking at something. There's a book called Wool that is exactly this. It's a great book, and it ends pretty badly.
They have an aquaponics thing. Wow.
And some of the windows, the reason I think of Wool is a lot of the windows are directly connected to a camera on the other side or at the top. So you're looking out a window and you're really looking at what's outside, except
it's looking back.
Yeah.
No, it's camera.
Oh.
The camera's up top.
Oh.
So you're like, oh, let's look at what's out the window. And it's actually what's outside.
Mm.
And if it was like a real doomsday scenario, it'd just be like ash and dust and radiation.
Mushroom cloud, Terminator robots.
Yeah. That is a focal point of the book. I can't recommend it enough. It's called Wool. So here in the U.S., I think we are still the world leader. Has Brazil pulled ahead?
USA #1.
Mexico was not doing well.
Yeah.
But maybe a new contender for the coming month would be Germany.
Thousands gather for the end of the pandemic protests in Berlin, and they ignore the safety measures. So probably a lot of people are going to be infected.
Ooh, that ain't 6 feet.
Yeah, this is not good.
We did this. It wasn't for the same reason. Well, actually, we did it for the same reason, and that wasn't okay. And then we did it for that other reason, and that was fine.
The world wars lasted a lot longer than this. I wonder if people freaked out this much. It's like the war's over, and it's like the war's not over.
Are they just upset about the masks? Because like my understanding is that Germany is mostly reopened at this point. You just have to wear a mask.
That was definitely one of the things. They referred to them as muzzles.
See, the Asian countries, which were already pretty well adjusted to masks, like isn't South Korea, like its reinfection rate is extremely, extremely low because everybody wore a mask all the time and stuck to it?
I don't know. Definitely a different cultural philosophy.
Weird.
One business that is absolutely devastated by the pandemic are cruise ships. None of them are sailing. Well, actually, there is this one. And they said, you know what? Let's go back to it, and I think we're going to be fine.
Update. One of the first ships to resume cruising is having an outbreak. Everyone is infected.
Surprise!
I think everyone is infected. That's fake news.
Another 32 crew members are positive, but I don't know how many.
Well,
total.
they've actually, since this was originally posted, disembarked many of the people. But at the time, they didn't know. So just like the beginning of the pandemic, they have launched a bunch of tourists who are probably infected into some port.
Well,
Sorry,
it's supposed
Brazil.
to be self-isolating, but who knows if they're actually doing that.
I can't think. What was the song that Carnival used in their commercials? Time of My Life. Just imagining that in my head as people cough up blood. The sports are back, although I think, didn't one of the baseball teams have like 5 people get sick?
Yeah. So, it was more than 5.
Oh, is it more now?
Yeah, it was at least 5. It turns out it was like 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's getting worse because like they just keep playing each other no matter what, and then more and more people get sick. Like all the people who work in the dugout, like.
Yeah.
Do you think they still slap each other on the ass when they do good?
They sanitize before and after. It's not quite as spontaneous, but
I don't know. I could get behind, if the baseball team start wearing like full body latex gas mask things, maybe that would be entertaining to watch.
That would be just collapsing on the field. Well, anyway, you're not allowed to watch, but you can get a cardboard cutout of yourself put in the audience. It's like $200.
people do it. Isn't that not insane?
A lot of people do it, and one of them got a fun surprise.
A 24-year-old Dodgers fan gets a memento after his cardboard cutout was struck during a game. So he was hit with his cardboard cutout was hit with a baseball, so they sent him an autographed bat.
It reminds me of like the Wii stadiums the little Mii's being out there and they like wave their little ball hands around.
Except these don't move.
Yeah. They should just put the Wii audience in there. It should just be a green screen.
Now, we've been playing Escape from Tarkov, which I kind of feel like will end badly.
Yeah.
I don't think that game has a bright future, but it's fun for now. If you can just get your joy now.
It's fun for now, except for the storage mechanic.
And the fact that we are just absolute trash at it. It really made me realize how bad I am at first-person shooting now.
And the matching algorithm.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue.
And the store.
And not being able to buy the good ammo.
Mechanic,
yeah. Yeah, well, maybe there's a lot of problems. But I get endorphins from it, right? And that's why I'm at the table. And I wonder if the sycophants, and that's the only way you can describe some of them, of this game can feel the same.
Star Citizen Dev offers a roadmap for development of new development roadmap. So,
what?
Yeah. So Star Citizen Dev is offering a roadmap for development of new development roadmap.
Why would they have a Star Wars ship in their office?
The thing that you got to be concerned about here is that Dell monitor. That's like a 2005, a circa 2005 LCD monitor, and they're pretty good. I mean, they last a long time, but these guys have got to be rolling over in cash.
That's like $300 million, right?
Yeah. So why does he have a monitor from 2006? Those are the real questions.
Maybe they test on that, like to make sure that it's good on old machine. I don't know.
No. At this point, every employee of every developer should be rocking one of those Samsung G9 monitors, like the 49-inch ultra wide. Like, there's no excuse for 2006 technology.
So they have missed their goals.
All of them.
But then they split the game into a multiplayer and a single player, and the single player was supposed to be ready first. They've missed that goal. And so they decided they were going to rebuild the roadmap because they were so far away from the roadmap. They were basically in the ocean. And they were like, no, we're going to do a different roadmap. And they set a goal for the new roadmap. Well, they've missed the goal for the new roadmap.
It's like George R.R. Martin of software development.
Didn't he like say that, throw me in jail if I haven't finished the book by summer 2020?
That's the next story, Krista.
If only someone had previewed
Is
the
it?
stories. It's not the next
I have
one.
like 4 stories between that.
Yeah. Well, it's in the group though.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry. Spoiler.
Oh yeah, this one was so dumb that I shot blood out of my nose.
Yeah. So obviously we're heading toward an election, and especially on the right, I think a lot of those people look to fearmonger in order to get votes. And what could be more terrifying to old people than anime pornography?
Florida congressional candidate warns of internet anime porn like Dragon Ball Z. Yes, that's the actual headline. The actual thing that they said. Dragon Ball Z is anime porn.
Now,
The Twitter post is still here.
Do you think that this person obviously knows nothing about this and read it and was like, Dragon Balls? Oh, that's terrible.
I was reading this, and the whole time I had trouble concentrating because the whole time I was imagining this person, like what would happen if we sat them down. Like, I want to fly down there and do like a level 1 video and see if we can get them to play Doki Doki Literature Club. Like, just how long they would make it before they noped out.
They'd be like, I ain't accustomed to all this reading.
I was saying there was voice acting, but there wasn't. We did the voice acting when we played that on the stream.
Yes.
It was pure text.
I like that they introducing a great deal of anime porn into the internet matrix. That's some good wording.
How do you think they visualize that?
I'm imagining, like, when you make like a donut or like, with cream filling, they imagine, you just suck up the anime pictures and then just inject it.
It's not like a dump truck. It's more like a series of tubes.
It's like the piping funnel, just full of anime porn, and they're just squishing it into the internet.
Oh, I wonder if you could explain to him, like, it's like in the lore, it's not really like that, because in the lore this person is like 350 years old. Like, it's like, in the lore, what are you talking about?
Are you talking about Dragon Ball Z?
No, like the anime stuff. It's like, oh, this is anime porn and blah blah blah. It's like, no, it's not. It doesn't look like this is something crazy going on. This is totally just, this is how it is in the lore. And he's just what are you talking about?
What is it, Kristen?
I clicked on the tweet and I'm looking at the replies, and someone posted. Hang on, I'll put it in Discord so you can see it. Hang on, it's a Garfield photo. No, that's not it. Dang it.
A Garfield meme in response to a senator.
Yeah,
really hot
understanding technology.
That's one of the responses to that tweet. And their text they put are, "What are your thoughts on this?"
Oh Lord!
And there's a lot of other responses of other weird Garfield images.
Can we not open directly here?
Hang on. There's another one. They're all terrible. This one's more explicit. Just throwing that out there in case you're.
I don't know how we.
That's really annoying that we can't do.
Here's the actual tweet that has the picture of the Garfield on there.
There you go. Go there.
I can't.
Scroll up. Yeah, there you go.
We're really burning time on this, but
it's important. I knew the responses would be good, but I didn't expect that when I opened it.
No, scroll up. It's like, what are your thoughts on this?
I like how he's giving him like the under the chin and those bedroom eyes.
Well, the one tabs have got the link for that, so enjoy.
It actually won't.
No, it'll have the link to the story, which has the link to the tweet, which has the replies.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I clicked on the tweet from the article.
All right, well, Chrissy, you've spoiled this one, so go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. George R. R. Martin said we could imprison him if Winds of Winter wasn't done today.
Guess what wasn't done?
So they tried to get him to visit New Zealand and finish the book there, and they offered him like free, room and board and stuff. And he was like, "Oh, ha ha ha. I'm going to come for this convention anyway, and it'll be done by then. And if it's not, you can lock me up in a cabin somewhere and then make me do it." Well, the convention isn't going to happen because obviously. So I guess he gets away with it now.
They did actually prod him into responding to this, and he's like, "I've been working on it. I promise, I've been working on it."
Well, I don't believe him.
I mean, what else is he doing?
Yeah.
But, speculating on blogs with everybody else.
I think see that it's the ultimate way out, because a lot of those Reddit threads and things like that, there's tons of communities online that have looked at all of the stuff that HBO did and all of the books, and they've written out these incredible endings, like a lot of the fan endings. Like, he could just go cherry pick the best of it and add his own flair to it and come up with a really incredible, satisfying ending of the book. And that might have been his plan all along.
But what if his ending was exactly like theirs, and he's like, "Oh God."
I don't think he would care.
No, I'm saying like the bad one, like the HBO one.
Oh,
like that was the plan.
And it was exactly the same.
He's changing that.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's taking so long. This is like, I can't do that.
Well, I don't think that anyone had a problem with necessarily. Well, I mean, there was some stuff that was just bad no matter what. But like Daenerys' Dark Turn, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. But it's like, it was literally just like in the snap. It needs more time to develop.
Yeah, he could. It is believable that she would do that, but it could have been done in much more subtle ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of it was probably also just like he's the expectations are so much more now.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit paralyzing. But you know what? Just do it.
Do you remember, in 2019 when that aired, and that was like the worst thing that we could imagine happening, and then 2020 happened?
It started with the Australia fires and just went downhill.
But how about the fact that the last one was in, 2011?
Yeah.
Get on it, man. Well, here in the good old Kentucky, the bluegrass, it is not super uncommon for the old stars and bars to be flying outside somebody's house or off the back of a pickup truck. That is a thing. I think the person here in town actually finally took theirs down, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah.
They did, yeah. That's been down for a while, I think.
But, not that long ago, we had one that we drove by from time to time.
Yeah.
In the modern day, you think less and less acceptable. Unfortunately, people don't really understand what those flags look like.
Flag removed from St. John's bed and breakfast over Confederate confusion. Nordic Pineapple removes the Norwegian flag after dozens of people confuse it for the Confederate flag.
I don't understand how you confuse it for the Confederate flag, because it looks, I mean, other than the colors.
Imagine how dumb the average person is, and now imagine that everybody, like the people, the other half,
there was a side by side,
are dumber than that.
They're pretty different. Like, I mean,
they are pretty different.
Literally stars and bars.
I mean, the colors are similar, but this is a cross,
not an X,
and there's no stars.
Doesn't matter, Ryan.
They took it down. I guess I don't blame them. I mean,
yeah, you don't want to get hate mail all day, but like,
it's like Blacklist didn't originally refer to black people, but now, you know, there's the subconscious association. So, okay.
So you're saying that based on that, subconsciously, Norway is racist?
Yes.
All of them.
All of them. Sorry.
Cancel yourselves. Domino's
might be time for them to update the flag.
Can you imagine?
Listen, it's the same thing. They should update the flag because
your proud tradition as a country.
No, it's not a proud tradition. It's not a proud tradition
It's
for the
hatred.
South. Yeah, it's hatred. It literally is.
Even though they never enslaved anybody.
Doesn't matter.
They might have, actually.
I mean, it's the perfect analog. I mean, it's like, oh, I didn't mean this to mean that thing. No, it doesn't matter what you meant. It matters what the average person thinks. So we have to stop. We have to change the flag.
I don't think it's the average person.
Or
it's a very tiny minority.
Well, apparently a large enough minority in this just Norway loud. Bed and breakfast.
Just loud.
That's enough. That's a data point for changing Norway's flag.
You know what? Let's just get rid of Norway.
That's the only way. It's the only solution.
European Union state number 53.
So Domino's, they saw a great meme, and they said to themselves, how can we capitalize on that? And I think pretty smart.
Domino's is rewarding mask-wearing Karens with free pizza. Are you a Karen? Are you wearing a mask? You get a pizza.
Now, there is a little bit of a security concern here, a little bit of privacy concern. You do have to upload a picture of your ID.
Ooh.
Domino's Pizza is not very good, in my opinion. I don't think I would take the risk for one.
Your name's not Karen, though, so, I mean, you weren't offered it anyway.
What if I legally changed my name to Karen?
Then you'd be all right. What's the male equivalent of Karen?
Ken.
Is it Ken?
Yeah. Because that's what they called the gun-wielding.
Oh, that's right. I did love the memes that came out of that.
Yeah.
Also, this website, I've been sitting here scrolling up and down it, trying to determine, like,
the font.
The font choices are so strange, and like, it's like on one hand they're trying to be super modern, but then they've got this serif that's like trying to be traditional.
Look how vertically tall the blurbs are.
Yeah, this is terrible.
It's bizarre. Well, like, and look at the menu. Like, click on the little menu, and they've got all these weird colors. Like,
there was some developer that was like, "I'm going to malicious compliance. I'm going to do exactly what they say for this headline, and they're going to change it immediately," and they didn't.
They're like, "We need more pastel in the menu."
Well, and it's bizarre too. So, like, you know, they have advertising, marketing, and media, and then these other ones. But like, why not make those larger if you want to emphasize them? Why highlight them with weird colors? And then why not make some of these secondary links, like subscribe to newsletter and about us and view jobs? Like, why not make those smaller?
Krista,
like,
it's called art. You wouldn't understand it.
It's bad visual hierarchy, and I'm puzzled by it. Strange. Anyway.
Last week we got a really disturbing tweet from one of the black leaders that was pretty anti-Semitic. He claimed he didn't know what he was doing. Kind of seemed obvious. This week we have something from someone with a little more power.
Georgia senator pulls ad that made Jewish opponents' nose bigger. So they have a side-by-side here at the bottom.
Oh, do they? I didn't see that. Is there a picture? I don't see a picture.
There's a picture, yeah.
Really? You don't see a picture?
No.
Oh, actually, that's a link. There we go.
So
it is a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
It's not. It's subtle.
Oh, okay. I had to open another tab. It is subtle. I don't know if that was malicious or not, but then it's like probably...
Well, no, but I mean, it's subtle, but what other reason would you have for doing that is the question.
Yeah.
Like what could you possibly have done What about it would the nose need to be lengthened to make it work better?
Is that another one of those subconscious things where like some people will see that and automatically be biased against?
Yeah, it's definitely a thing where they will try to make you uglier in pictures, in political pictures.
I thought that was what the whole point of like close-ups. Like they do the extreme close-ups where like your head doesn't even fit in the frame, and that's considered like something to try to make you look bad.
Well, they've definitely
because everybody looks bad.
They'll go in and enhance any flaw that you have in a political picture. But this one, I mean, it's one thing to do just like, hey, you're ugly. It's another thing to attack you on a stereotypical ground, especially in the modern day. I don't know. Maybe it was unintentional, but...
This is my favorite story because I learned more about the Insane Clown Posse than I knew before.
This was surprisingly wholesome. And, I thought they were going to do some kind of project together, but it really wasn't anything commercial.
Yeah.
It was just being bros.
Insane Clown Posse teams up with Chris Hansen to catch an alleged sexual predator. Chris Hansen says he is proud to be a juggalo after collaborating with ICP to take on a common enemy. Now, it's going to be really awkward if next week, like, this guy is involved in some sort of, something.
Chris Hansen?
No. Who was it that they're after? It starts with a V.
The group is Blood on the Dance Floor. I'm not familiar with these people. Chris, do you know anything about these guys?
No.
Well, there are some allegations. And so I feel like that they might be taking...
Vanity.
Yeah, they might be taking a little bit of, a strong stance before they've been tried and convicted.
Jesus David Torres. So there are accusations of sexual assault, rape allegations, some of the girls being underaged.
But there's no court case yet.
And I think just in the realm of music, they had toured with some of the people who were affected by this and got the stories from them and spoke out about it. So Hansen invited them onto his show to talk more about it. ICP are a surprisingly self-aware pair, if you ever listen to interviews with them. Like, they don't have any illusions about who or what they are. And that is kind of refreshing. They understand they're a gimmick and their fans are kind of weird and they're just okay with that.
I don't know if the fans are in sometimes. You can't tell when you listen to interviews with the fans if they're fully into it, not like...
Kind of can relate a little bit.
Do you think that's the thing holding us back? Like, we could get up to Linus's size if we wore ICP
If we
makeup?
painted our faces as clowns, you're right.
No. I think we're kind of weird and people watching are kind of weird.
We're kind of on the spectrum, kind of have to have
okay with that.
Have to have medication to interact with normal people. It's fine.
Well, I've never been more excited than the idea of taking horses into space. You ever see the vomit comment where they took the cats?
No, that sounds horrifying.
They did not like it. But I can only imagine a horse being more alarmed.
Wait, is that the video where there's a cat that's like swimming through the air and it just floats by the camera?
They just let it go and the cat's like, what's going on? I should check that video out. They adapt to it, but I don't think a horse would as quickly.
No, I don't think so either.
Saddle up for a ride through the cosmos, partner. Space Force has horses. They're referring to a Twitter post that they made. It's like, turns out that conservation.
Actually, false. They have one horse. Not horses. And here he is.
Whole cavalry.
5-year-old Mustang.
Ghost. Good looking horse. So
it's been bred to not require oxygen for the Martian atmosphere.
Yeah, they point out that horses cannot survive the rigors of space. Can you imagine in zero gravity their legs would just shrivel up and be useless? You bring it back to Earth and it would just be a lump on the ground.
Oh.
So apparently Space Force, they said they got him so that they can like patrol the mountains more easily. But why are they patrolling the mountains?
Observatories?
Maybe.
Can you imagine if you're like a rancher in Colorado up in the mountains and some guy comes up wearing
like, I'm with Space Force. And it's like, what?
Who are you? I'm with the United States Space Force, ma'am. You just like, you don't even believe it because it's like, that's not even a thing.
So yeah. if you love horses, maybe go into the Space Force. And finally, I think this might be one of my new favorite animals, that we've covered stories about. If you recall, one of my all-time favorite stories was Romeo the Frog.
Yeah.
And that was a really feel-good story. I think Romeo has a ton of kids now.
That's good.
He's back. He's single-handedly bringing back the whatever kind of frog he is race after his lonely times. And we can only hope that this gentleman, I assume that's a male, although I think they all look like this, can do the same for his species.
Lake Titicaca's endangered scrotum frog could be on its last legs. Scientists hope to change that. Scroll down. What's its scientific name?
How about the fact that it's Titicaca?
Oh, it's hard to pronounce. It's like Telmatobius culeus.
I wonder how he got his name.
It's hard to say.
So these guys are in trouble for the same reason as Romeo. Their natural habitat is threatened, and these scientists have decided to do something about it. This one doesn't look as scrotal.
Is that a word?
It is now.
Oh, the YouTube caption's struggling.
So, gonna try to save them.
He apparently is used as an indicator species because, like, ever how many of those exist that they're able to measure, it determines the health of the overall ecosystem. And so it's not just that he's in danger, the entire ecosystem is in danger of collapse.
Also, if it's really cold outside, he tends to contract.
Yeah. Yep. Can confirm. That's it. That's it for another week of the Level 1 news.
Krista, how about the most endangered frog goodbye?
Goodbye.
We'll see you next week.